John, Elliot, we're at the RFL Championship and League One season launch. We've just heard a raft of exciting announcements from Ralph Rimmer, Andy Wilson and Mark Foster. Probably the most important one is that the Championship is going to be on Sky Sports, and it's also going to be streamed on the Our League app in 2019.
Yeah, I think obviously the increased exposure for the game at League One and Championship level obviously will benefit. And I think that's a reflection basically of the increase in standards and of the competitiveness as well of the two divisions. So I think what they've seen on the field of play, it demands a public platform, and that's what it's getting.
And obviously Toronto, Toulouse, Bradford, Leigh, Featherstone, York, there's a great vibrancy to that Championship competition, John.
Yeah, this is going to be the toughest, I think, up to now, and you know, you've thrown half a dozen, 7 names in there. You've got your Battlers, your Dewsburys as well, who are going to, you know, they're going to be very confrontational, very difficult to beat. So every game in this season, us as a club, everybody else as a club, they're going to have to bring their A game if you're going to be A, competitive, and B, get any success whatsoever.
How much of a step up is it going to be for the club this season, John, after the experience of League One last year?
I think it's going to be a big step up, but you know, we've had a lot of young men who've got a lot of great experience last year. We've recruited some experience as well, but I don't think it's going to be problematic with regard to the standard. I think what the problematic one will be the consistency in preparation and in performance, and that's the challenge that we've got to do, so that week in, week out, we put our best foot forward. What
does a successful season for the Bradford Bulls in 2019 look like?
Every game competitive, and obviously there's 5 out of 14 teams who are going to be playing off at the end of the season. So I think if you're a club with ambition, and we are a club with ambition, we've got to aim for one of those top 5 spots, and that's always been our aim. And you know, I'm putting it out there as the coach. The players will obviously chat. We'll chat with the players as regards to mid-term and immediate goals. The long-term goal, we've got to be saying we want to get the Bulls back in Super League eventually, and hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later.
And John, I know we speak on a regular basis, but how pleased have you been with the 5 pre-season games today?
I've been delighted, and I think what it's demonstrated first of all is that we've got a lot of players who have a good standard, and I think we've got a good team that's evolving, and that's demonstrated by the individual performances that have been shown, and it's also been demonstrated by the team performances. And you know, I'm delighted. I feel we're in a good place, but I can't wait for February the 3rd now. You know, I'm sick of playing build-up games. I want to play some games in anger now.
Well, we're less than 2 weeks from the season opener against Featherstone and Odsal, John. How close are you to naming your starting 17 for the visit of Featherstone?
I'm very close, mate, but you won't be finding out yet.
In terms of being close, obviously, John, a squad of 38 players. There's going to be a lot of competition for places in 2019. How do you keep everybody happy?
We keep everybody happy by providing a good performance environment, providing them somewhere to play, be it first team, reserve level, or you know, on loan, whatever. But we've got a group of players who bought into our vision for Bradford Bulls, and our vision for Bradford Bulls is to be a very competitive team in the 2019 Betfred Championship. And
of course, after a season in League One, you're back at a level that you've coached previously, that you're familiar with.
Yeah, very much so. But you know, it's about the coaches in part. But this game it's 90% about the players, believe you me, and it's them who carry our hopes, aspirations and expectations on their shoulders, and I'm very confident they'll do it very well.
And as a head coach, John, there's only so much that you can do to influence the game. A lot of what happens is the decisions made by players like Elliot out there on the field. How do you feel a year on in your tenure as head coach of the Bradford Bulls that the players have gained that experience and leadership to deal with the pressures of the Championship?
Well, we had a full year of pressure last year. You know, we were the grand final for every other team, and I think it did our players good in the long run, and I think it'll stand them in good stead as well not only as people and as individuals, but for us as a team in the challenges that we're being confronted with this year.
And going back to the hybrid system that Andrew Chalmers and yourself devised, how do you see that continuing in 2019 with more players being on the full-time side now?
Yeah, there are more on the full-time, we've got more on the part-time side as well, so it's a challenge to make sure that we always do things with purpose, we always do things efficiently, and we always do things that have a good outcome. And that's been our challenge, and I feel it's going pretty well at the minute. And as I say, we're in a great place, but I just can't wait for February the 3rd.
Another chance, John, on Saturday to test yourself against Championship opposition. Probably the competition favourites, the Toronto Wolfpack at Odsal.
Well, there should be the competition favourites with the amount of money they spent, shouldn't they? So, you know, that's the top and bottom of it, and they will provide a difficult opposition, no matter whether you play them in a trial game or whether you play them in a full-on league game. So, yeah, it'll be a good opportunity for us, but you know, I'll be getting the final questions answered on Saturday.
Is there any inclination of what side you're going to put out?
There is, yes, but I always let the players know first, Mick, so they'll know before anybody else.
Elliot, we're here at the Championship season launch. You must be absolutely delighted. The Bradford Bulls back in the Championship, a chance to test yourself against some of the biggest teams in the competition.
Yeah, of course, obviously on the back of our campaign last year, getting promotion back to the Championship, it's where we want to be for this year, and you know, it's going to be a tough competition, probably the toughest Championship in a long time, so we're ready to match it with the best of them, and I'm confident we'll go well this season.
And obviously those 4 pre-season games against Championship opposition that you've already defeated, that's really set the benchmark high ahead of an exciting season ahead.
Yeah, it's given us some confidence that you know, we can compete with these teams. We've played 4 tough teams. You know, we played Halifax in the tough game, Dewsbury, Batley and York, so they're all going to be there and thereabouts, and I feel like we've more than matched them, so yeah, we took a lot of confidence out of them, but let's not forget that they are only pre-season friendlies, and you know, it doesn't start till round 1, does it, so we're not getting too ahead of ourselves.
And obviously we've just said to John, it is a big squad of about 38 players, so that competition for places is going to see you want to perform at the very best standard week in, week out to be in the starting 17.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. You can't get complacent, even in training, and especially in games. You know, you're looking over your shoulder because there's someone else who can come in and take your jersey. So it's good for the squad. It keeps everyone on their toes, like I said, and it raises the bar for everybody. So it's healthy and it's working along.
And just finally, Elliot, you're still relatively young yourself. You've been handed the vice captaincy under Steve Crossley for 2019. What's so special about the Bradford Bulls at this moment in time? Obviously, you've got young players like Rowan Milnes, Brandon Pickersgill who've come through, Matty Staunton now making his name. It really is. You feel that the club is alive and kicking, and it is climbing that ascent back to Super League.
Yeah, there's a good vibe generated by the club, around the club, and the fans. You know, they're part of that as well. The massive on match days, and you know, there's a local feel to the club. I feel, me being a local lad as well, there's a lot of us local lads, and I think that's got a long way to go with that. I know the club's in a good place at the moment, and we're on the rise, and let's hope it continues.